All right, hey everybody, Evan Strahl with Strahl Strength Systems. Today we're going to be going over my favorite lift, the conventional deadlift. I'm just going to give you a pretty basic breakdown on how I like to set up for it. I'm not really going to be covering the sumo deadlift today or any type of hybrid in between the two, just because for the sake of keeping it simple, this is all we're going to go for today, just because it's a lot to get into if you really start to dig into it. So for the conventional deadlift, probably the most important part of it is just your initial setup. So for this, what I like to start with is just making sure the bar is in the right place over my foot. When you're looking down, I like to make sure that the bar is right over my navicular bone, or the arch of your foot. What you'll see a lot of times, especially in some of the bigger lifters and a lot of power lifters, anybody that's of a bigger frame, what will end up happening is, because they have some flexibility issues and just girth issues in general, the bar will end up sliding forward more over the metatarsal phalangeal joint. And what happens when this occurs is you're going to get a lot more shearing stresses and compressional stresses on the spine. And that's just because it's going to disrupt the bar path pretty much. It's been found there's a lot more horizontal bar displacement when you get into this position, just because, I mean, what actually ends up happening is when you pull it, the first place the bar goes is backwards and then up, and that's just going to put a very strange stress on the vertebrae in your spine. So what I like to do, again, is just right over the navicular bone, and then I like to make sure my feet are in about a hip width stance. I turn my toes slightly outward, and when I'm in this position, I've just found in myself and many of the athletes I work with is you get a lot more quad involvement, and also you just get a little bit more leverage, I think, than when you get more into a shoulder width position, and then it gets really hard to stabilize with your upper back too, because your hands have to come out wider. So again, hip width stance, toes slightly outward over the navicular bone. Once you're here, the next step is just going to be hand placement. For this video, I'm going to show you the over-under grip, just because if you're going for maximal strength, this is where you're going to end up anyways, unless you go to a hook grip. So for the over-under grip, what I like to do, when I look down, I like to make sure that my pinky is lined up with the outside of my foot on my whatever hand's my underhand, and for my overhand, it's going to be your pointer fingers lined up with the outside of your foot. So you're going to get right here. Once you're here, next step is just getting your hips down. So, back would be a better term. So I like to push my hips back. Here, what you'll find a lot of times, people end up getting way too deep, and this is a lot of times what ends up causing that bad bar position with it over the metatarsal phalangeal joint. You'll see this in Olympic lifters a lot, or people that come from the Olympic lifting background, just because they're so quad dominant that they just don't feel comfortable getting in that quad compromised position. So you're gonna get down there, get the butt back, weight all on your heels as much as you can. Then what I like to do after my butt's back, and we'll do a side video later, but if you look from the side, my shin's actually really not that far forward. Knees are never over the toes for the deadlift. So once you get down here, get the butt back, you're gonna get a nice arch in the back, or at least a neutral spine. What you'll find here a lot of times too is you'll get people with just mobility issues, or I guess flexibility issues too sometimes, where it's just too flexible, so over mobility. And the big thing on the spinal position on the deadlift is it's all right sometimes if there's a little bit of rounding in the thoracic region of your spine, but the second that you get rounding in the lumbar region, I don't even know if I can get it because mine's so tight. That's going to be a very compromised position for you, and it's very bad for the vertebrae in your spine. So thoracic rounding, it's not the best. Some people actually have a lot of success doing it from there though, but I really don't recommend it for people in the beginning, just because your body's just not ready for it yet at all. There's not enough erector development. So I like to get people in a nice arched position with the spine. And then what I like to do is I kind of push the chest through a little bit so that when I look down, the bar is directly under my shoulder. If you get too far out in front of it, again, it's going to put a lot of shearing stress on your spine. So drop it back, butt back, shoulder over the bar. Then the next step is just gonna be a big exhale to help you stabilize your spine. So you're right here, hold it. Then at the top, I want you to make sure you're driving the glutes all the way through the bar. I don't want you getting back into a hyperextended position with your spine just because that's not good for you. So glute through, stand up nice and tall, not shrugging the shoulders. So glutes through, then you're gonna break at the hips. Once you get to the knees, dropping down. That's pretty much all there is to it, especially for now. Again, we'll get into a little bit more depth later, but for now, that should be good to get you started. So, Evan Straw, Straw Strength System. See you next time.